We learned that microgreens are concentrated nutrients. Polyphenols and antioxidant content make it an effective anti-inflammatory food. While we learned the different ways to use these microgreens, how do we even ensure that every bite that we take has those nutrients that they claimed for? Let's dive deeper to get the tips about the effective sourcing and first-hand experience about the benefits of microgreens straight from the microgreen experts. There's a family that values happiness more than anything and believes that healthier lifestyle leads to a more enjoyable experience. After trying different healing modalities, they were convinced food is the medicine and now started growing nutrient-dense microgreens to ensure not only their family but community also should get benefited by that. April, who was formerly into hotel management, and Krista, who was originally a physical therapist, now found their passion into growing these microgreens and pass on these benefits that they had to the community with a spectacular nutrient-dense food, the microgreens. So let's meet the Zunigas to get the first-hand information about the experience and the tips that they can give about the microgreens. This is Krista and that's April. Why microgreens?
So when we were first learning to grow our own food, we wanted to educate ourselves on having the most nutrient-dense soil. So we were researching, doing our own education, and we came across microgreens and heard that they had 4 to 40 times more nutrients at this age than the adult version of the vegetable. So it was a no-brainer. So we immediately started doing research, made sure that there were studies to back that information, and it took off from there. We started growing for ourselves, and within weeks of eating them consistently, we noticed a huge change in our health and energy.
Were you sick before, or what happened? How did you see the change?
I had been dealing with a lot of weird symptoms and couldn't get any answers from doctors, and so we wanted to eat a very clean diet. So we started the microgreens, and within weeks we started realizing we're forgetting our coffee. We have all this extra energy. And then when I finally found a doctor that was able to run the specific tests that I needed, we found out that I had autoimmunity. I had the second highest number in this particular test that she did, but I had zero inflammation. And she told us that it was completely due to our lifestyle, i.e. our eating and the microgreens specifically.
That's so nice to hear. I see that you follow a zero waste policy, right? So how do you achieve that?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we initially started growing microgreens for ourselves, we lived in a very urban neighborhood. It was a cookie cutter neighborhood, and we didn't have chickens at that time. And we saw that we were trying to compost the soil, but we had too much. And so when we moved to this property, we said we've got to get chickens so that they can compost that for us and we can reuse everything. So when we harvest microgreens, we harvest right above the soil. But there's a lot of late bloomers, as we like to call them. Mm-hmm. And so there's lots of seeds and sprouts coming up still, and there's a lot of leftover from what has already sprouted. And so we give those to our chickens, which is great nutrition for them. And then they break it down and turn it into compost that we can then use outside in our outdoor beds.
That is great.
Yeah.
So it's nothing like chicken eating the microgreens and getting the omega-3s and vitamin E from them, right? And of course, like when a chicken is fed so much of antioxidants and the eggs coming from the chicken, nothing like that. And that's how I would say the quality of the egg also goes up when depending on the feed you give them, right? That's so nice to hear.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
And the Zunigas use this compost to grow the microgreens again. How neat is that? So you understand that the nutrition value of a plant or even a microgreen completely depends on the quality of the dirt that it is grown from, encouraging us to use our own compost. This way we can avoid the fertilizer because we know using the fertilizers can simply kill all the microorganisms in the dirt, which helps to absorb all the minerals. Growing your microgreens or any plant using your own compost will ensure that you're trying to retain the nutrients that it's supposed to have. It was quite satisfying to meet our Zunigas today. I even learned that the microgreens are not the baby ones, they are even infantile. Let's stay tuned to get more information about growing your microgreens. Let food be your medicine and medicine be your food.